All right, now I want to transition to how to use LinkedIn to explore career opportunities. And again, I want to remind you, if you have any questions whatsoever, just type them into the Q&A on the Zoom webinar there, and we'll answer them during the live Q&A portion at the end of the video. So how to use LinkedIn, which is kind of the beef and the meat of what today's workshop is about. So I'm going to cover 3 important things, okay? LinkedIn Strategies 101. 1, how to maximize your profile. 2, how to identify influencers. And 3, how to build your network, okay? So number 1, who uses LinkedIn? 85% of jobs and internships are filled through networking, right? So LinkedIn ultimately is an online professional network. Just like you have Twitter as a social network, or you have Instagram as a social network, or, you know, some of you who older ones who have Facebook, you know, Facebook as a social network. LinkedIn is a professional network. So 85% of positions are filled through networking. 40% of users use LinkedIn daily. That's a pretty impressive stat in my opinion, right? That of all the users that are on LinkedIn, 40% log on daily and use the platform daily. Just like you probably use Instagram daily or any other social, or Twitter daily. 500 million people use LinkedIn. And I believe that number has increased since this COVID pandemic because a lot of people are using it now to connect online. 92% of employers recruit open positions using LinkedIn. So it is a very important platform. You need to be on it as you kind of jumpstart your career search for either for an internship or an entry-level job when you graduate. Why use LinkedIn? If I haven't already kind of stated good enough reasons, it's really connecting you to other professionals across fields and industries. And, you know, you never know what people are going to go on to do different things. So for example, our School of Engineering at UCLA is named the Henry Samueli School of Engineering and Applied Science. Well, guess what? You know, 40 years ago, I don't know how many years ago, a long time ago, Henry Samueli was an undergrad student, just like you, probably looking, you know, sitting in a workshop like this at that time. It wasn't LinkedIn. It was probably something else, you know, recruitment workshop or something. But he was a student just like you. And then he became a master's level student, and then a PhD, and then he graduated, and then he started a company, and now he's a billionaire, right? Or a multimillionaire. And enough money, enough millionaires that he can donate, you know, millions of dollars to UCLA Engineering so that the school is named after him. So you never know who you're going to connect with and what they're going to go on to do. Inevitably, somebody in your class is going to, you know, hit it big, become a Nobel laureate, you know, discover a new patent, you know, write code that's going to revolutionize our technology. So you just establish your network early and keep in touch with them over time. Number 2 bullet here says to increase your networking and create opportunities that will lead to employment in the future, right? So don't just build connections to get employed now. You build connections to keep relationships, to build relationships for future opportunities. And so don't think short term, think long term. 70% of employers have rejected a candidate because their information that was found online was not good, right? So they went to their LinkedIn account and it's incomplete, or it's just, you know, it's not very good. You know, that turns people off. I can guarantee you there's no employer is going to bring somebody in for an interview without first checking their LinkedIn account. No doubt, 100% confident in saying that. They're going to check your LinkedIn. So you need to have a good LinkedIn account and profile. 85% of employers say that a positive online reputation influences their hiring decisions. So again, you won't even get an interview without the LinkedIn, but at least once they see your LinkedIn, they bring you for an interview. And then during the interview, they're going to ask you about those LinkedIn connections. They're going to be like, oh, I see on LinkedIn that you worked with so-and-so, you know, on this project. And they might know so-and-so, right? So they're going to want to know what was your interaction with that person. And again, that's how this professional network helps you get jobs, right? Because if they trust and they've worked with that professional that you've connected and worked with in the past, and then they hear from you the type of work you did with them, and they might even call them up and say, hey, I saw on LinkedIn that you worked with so-and-so. What can you tell me about them? Should I hire them? Obviously, if you have a good relationship, a good professional working relationship with that LinkedIn connection, they're going to say, absolutely, you know, Will is awesome. You should absolutely hire him for this position. I've worked with him in the past and he's great. Okay, so now I want to get into those 3 levels that I talked about. Level 1 is maximizing your profile. So again, this LinkedIn account is all about your personal brand. You know, what are you trying to project to the world? Um, you know, building this network will help you keep in touch. It'll help you find mentors, which is what the next thing I'm going to talk about. And it also helps you share useful information. And I'll talk about that in the next couple slides too. Through this, once you have your profile and you've established your brand, it's like any other algorithm. The more you use LinkedIn, the more it learns what you're interested in, and it starts to populate your feed. And I'll talk in more detail about this when I talk about Handshake. But this will help you research potential career paths. You know, sometimes we just don't know what we don't know. It's not until we're exposed through it to this new field or this new career pathway that we're like, oh, that sounds cool. I want to try that. And LinkedIn can help expose you to things if you use it, like I said, on a daily basis. It'll help you evaluate your options, and it'll also help you apply for jobs. So bottom line, LinkedIn is like your online resume. I call it the online CV, where you get to put, because resume usually you're limited to 1 page, whereas LinkedIn, you have an unlimited amount of information. So you can put everything you've ever done, all your academic and professional accomplishments can go on LinkedIn. And again, once you decide, once you figure out what you're looking for and you find your ikigai and what kind of company or position, you can start branding your LinkedIn to target that audience. So if you know you're looking for a biomedical device company, you want to write your LinkedIn account in a way that you're targeting that biomedical device company recruiter. So that's level 1. Level 2 is identifying influencers. This is also very important because, like I said, you don't know what you don't know. I recommend you go on LinkedIn and start to identify some people you want to follow, right? So some influencers. So, if your dream job is Tesla, then yeah, Elon Musk should probably be somebody you're following on LinkedIn. And as he reads certain documents or he publishes certain videos or certain, information that he's putting out, you get to see and read what's on his mind, what he's thinking about, what he's exploring and researching. And that then helps you to populate your feed so that you can start to learn and read about what these people that they're kind of mentors, and not in a personal sense, but they're people you're aspiring to become, right? And so if that's your dream job and your dream position, you want to follow them so that you see what they're thinking about on a daily basis in the professional setting. Target recruiters. So definitely if you're looking for a biomedical device company, I'm just going to stick with that theme for the whole video, but obviously this applies to whatever field of engineering you're trying to get into. Target recruiters. Recruiters use LinkedIn on a daily basis. This is their number 1 tool to get people to apply for their positions. So find who the recruiter is at that biomedical, at Roche company, and then connect with them or follow them so that you can see what they're posting. Next up is recruiting post tips and resources that will increase your chances of getting hired. Recruiters have no shame. Like, I've seen videos from Microsoft recruiters that say, look, if you want to ace our technical interview, here's a 10-minute video on how you can do that. They would rather you know how to prepare so that when you get to the interview, you're not wasting their time. The worst thing that could happen is they invest time to interview you and you're totally unprepared and not qualified. Right? So they want to get as much information out for you as possible so that so that you know exactly what the target is so that you can best prepare to meet their expectations and meet that target. And then last but not least, by following other influencers, they get to curate your content, because when you see something that Elon Musk posts, for example, you can then repost it. It's clearly not your content, but you're reposting your reaction, you're reposting your thoughts, your professional lens and how you're viewing what they posted and what you read. It increases your visibility, right? And then people start following you maybe one day. And helps to build your professional network and to connect with other people. All right, cool. Last but not least, level 3, building your network, right? And this is just like you can connect with UCLA alums on the UCLA One network. You can also connect with alums on LinkedIn. They're in the same search functions that UCLA One has, LinkedIn also has. So you can use filters and keywords to search UCLA graduates, majors, or UCLA graduates who are working at certain companies, or UCLA graduates that have certain position titles that you're, a dream title that you're working towards. And then you can observe their professional and academic history, so their trajectory. So just because they're like CTO at Google doesn't mean they started there, at 22 years old with their bachelor's, straight out of their bachelor's degree. Obviously, they started somewhere else, and then they moved up and they moved up and they switched companies and they switched titles and they worked their way up to that dream position. So you should realize that, there's different paths to get to the end zone, to the end goal. And so looking at different people, different influencers and how they got to their end career or to their current title and position is a good eye opener for you, so that you can see that you don't have to start working at Google for your very first internship. You probably should start somewhere else and build your way up. And then, of course, you can connect with them. And this is the same as the UCLA one. You can write a simple email like, "Hi, my name is Will. We're both fellow Bruins, and I found your profile inspiring. I'd love to connect and learn more about what you do." Simple, concise, to the point. You're not asking them to do extra work. You're not saying, "Hey, can you be my mentor and teach me everything you know?" If you ask me that, all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, now I got work to do. Do I really want to do all this extra work? As opposed to if you just tell me, "Hey, I just want to learn what you've done and I just want to hear about your pathway." That's easy. All I got to do is talk about myself and what I've done. That's cake. That's not work at all. That's an easy ask of me. So again, don't ask for anything. Don't make it about you. Just say, "Hey, I want to learn more about you and what you've done." And I'd say most UCLA alums remember being an undergrad, being desperate to find that first industry internship, or desperate to learn about how, to translate the theoretical knowledge you learn in your bachelor's degree to an actual job in industry. So they're willing to help and they want to pay it forward. All right, cool. So that's LinkedIn.